The concept of breakthrough is important to know. In this case, we have like a pawn that is about to promote, but of course it can get taken right away. But then white has 2 pawns against 4 black pawns, so it looks crazy, but yes, white is winning because of the breakthrough. It consists of, well, okay, the solution in this puzzle is g4, right? So it consists of forcing black to move away one of the pawns that is stopping one of our pawns from becoming a passed pawn. So in this case, g4 forces black to take. If black takes, then we can push forward h5, and it's impossible for the black king to stop the pawn unless he wants to give up on the other pawn. And if black doesn't take after g4, if black doesn't take, then we're going to take. So whatever black wants to do, any other move, let's say pawn takes here, then we can just take, and the same thing happens. So that is the good thing about breakthrough. It forces the opponent to make a compromising move. In this situation, it looks like the black king is so close to the pawns that we're going to lose all of them. So there's going to be a way to promote. We're going to use the concept of breakthrough. So this king here is further away from the h5 pawn, but the h5 pawn is blocked by the h7 pawn, and it's also attacked by the g7 pawn. So this pawn is attacking h6, this pawn is protecting h6 in a way that it's blocking h6. So we have to get rid of both pawns. So f6 is the move. The black king cannot take the pawn because it's protected, and if black does nothing, we will continue the race. So if black takes, now the pawn in g7 doesn't exist anymore, we can push g6. And now we're asking a very important question to black. What do you want to do about the h7 pawn? Do you want to push? Do you want to take? Either way, one of our pawns will become a passed pawn. So after h6, then we can just go on and promote. The king doesn't make it in time. And after pawn takes, then again, we can just go on and promote. The black king doesn't make it in time. And in this same puzzle, after f6, what happens if the king just goes up and tries to mess around? Well, then we just have more pawns. And after taking the pawn and the king going to f7, we can just protect the pawn in g7. And then it's going to be easy to win the game. Now that we're mastering the understanding of a breakthrough a bit more, let's go on with a bit of a harder example. Here, there's a crucial move that white has to play. So when you do the breakthrough, look at the most forcing moves. So for example, f6 is the solution. We're immediately trying to go to g7 and then promote. So black has to do something about it. Pushing doesn't make sense. So after pawn takes, now white continues with f4. And we know that sooner or later we're gonna get rid of this pawn in h6 by going to g5. There's already nothing that black can do to stop that. If the king gets going forward, then simply g5. If the pawn takes, then this pawn is promoting. If this pawn takes, then we just take, and again we are promoting. So the king just doesn't make it in time. King goes to f5. Now we can take the pawn in h6, and h5 is protecting g6, h6 is protecting g7, and it's going to take too long for the king to just go around, and in the meantime we're going to promote. So there's no access for the king anywhere here. So after king f6, for example, then white continues with king to c2. Is going to take the pawn, and it's going to go and offer some help to these pawns, although they are h pawns. But the thing is that the black player can never move. He can never go to g7. If he goes down, we're just going to promote. And if he goes to the other side, then we're just going to promote. In this position, white can win through the breakthrough. Basically, white plays b5. This is the best move. We are now forcing a question onto the pawn in a6. Either the pawn takes or not, then we will take. So if pawn takes, then pawn can go up, and also it's crucial that the bishop is defending these squares. So by the time the king gets there, he can't really go and stop us from promoting. So after b5, if black does anything else, like he goes backwards, then again we're just going to play this move, and we're threatening to go up just like before. And if the king goes up already, then we can just take this other pawn, and it should be fine. See how important it is to know the breakthrough, because look at this puzzle. It really doesn't look like there's something right now, but like once you know the pattern, like here we have a majority on the queen side against a minority, and yeah, it looks like it's gonna hold because of the bishop, but you can afford to do this move, bishop e6, and well, we just won this pawn, and so after bishop takes back, now a5, we attack the bishop. If bishop takes, pawn takes, the king is too far from this pawn, so the bishop will have to stick around. Let's say bishop c7, for instance, now b5. And we're threatening to play b6, after which the game will be over, right? These 3 pawns against this bishop will crush them. So after pawn takes, now a6. And now we have 2 passed pawns, and one of them will have to distract the bishop whilst the other one promotes.